People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on. As the big man Ian Wright just said there, people deluded, I'm back again. Arsenal are finally signing a player, a outfield player, because we've been linked with a bunch of goalies. Technically, we've signed 2 already. It's nice to obviously be moving over the line where Calafiori is concerned, the Romanos, the Ornsteins, and just about every journalist is probably waking up and adding their own personal spin on the Ricardo Calafiori deal. Now, again, let me know your thoughts on the player. I don't want to say it's a long, dragged-out saga, because it hasn't, but to us fans that have been itching to obviously have signings and complete signings, it feels like this is taking forever, and it feels like it's moving closer. We know personal terms have been agreed. Again, the closer we get to officially agreeing a fee with Bologna and the makeup of a deal, he can have his medical, he can travel to America, which I believe we're departing for tomorrow, and he can be part of things. And I have to say it again, people, I prayed for days like this, man. Respectfully to what the players I'm about to say, David Luiz, I don't like throwing you into this boat, but David Luiz, Pablo Marie, Mustafi, Socrates, the Chuckle brothers, and Rob Holding and Callum Chambers. And we all saw what Rob Holding did when we was fighting for the league at the first time around. We prayed for great defensive options. And now to have Calafiori, to have Tomiyasu, to have Benjamin White, to have Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, you know, technically Kivior is here on paper. I know many people don't believe and whatnot in Zinchenko, who's apparently changed agents, funny enough. Apparently, you know, we've got some good options. And again, signing players is one thing. It's about the structure. We defend greatly as a team. We're one of the best defensive sides in Europe / the Premier League. I thought I was going to wake up on Saturday. I was going to go to the gym. Nah, you know, we're finally signing the player. So I thought, why not go live, man? Because I know I've been getting the videos out and whatnot, but I've missed you lot, man. Arsenal really know how to suck the joy, out of the excitement of a signing. We say that, but really and truly, why is that the case? Because it feels like the calm before the storm. Yes, we've heard we're haggling over a bit of money. Clearly, an agreement's been reached. Obviously, Calafiori's been on holiday after not only the domestic campaign, but also the Euros. So it was going to take a bit of time. Now, of course, you wouldn't have liked to have seen it dragged out. You know, it kind of felt like the Arsenal saga of old, in which, you know, every journalist, you know, every Friday goes, the next week is going to be pivotal. And we've heard that. So the quicker we get him in, the quicker he's embedded into the team, the quicker he can get up to speed with what Mikel Arteta demands of him individually and collectively, and we can just focus on other targets. I'm sure I speak for every Arsenal fan where we say in an ideal world, a central midfielder follows, an inside forward or a winger or a versatile winger follows, and we've got small hope for a striker, man. So yeah, big up you lot. I had to be live, man. I've missed you lot, man. Smash the like you smash Yaki and Swordfish. I hear that, man. We saying, D'Angelo, I'm good, man. I hope you're doing well and safe. It's an unnecessary signing. There are other areas that have to be addressed. CS, I disagree, because one, rightly or wrongly, Mikel Arteta reserves the right to do what he thinks is required to improve the team. And I feel when you look at our left-hand side last season, you know, we're very lopsided. And I think a bulk of that is because, you know, typically Saliba is always fit. He played every minute last season. Benjamin White is always there. Odegaard is always there. Bukayo Saka is always there. You look on the left-hand side, Declan Rice has found himself playing as a left 8. You never know. If you could get that left 8 or that left-sided number 6, Declan Rice might revert to the right-hand side. But you've had Declan having to do a bunch of midfield roles. Timber obviously had the big injury. Kivior has not convinced. Zinchenko has gone through the motions. Obviously, and I think a part of that Partey's injury has been the lack of stability. I do think a lot of that, as you know, Martinelli has to hold himself accountable, but it's factored into Martinelli's form. So I won't say it's an unnecessary signing. He's someone that is an upgrade on Kivior, someone that could genuinely push Gabriel at centre half, as he showed last season playing as a centre half, and somebody that's played as a left back. And now we've got good problems. And I know Arsenal fans, it feels like Arsenal fans want to have it both ways, want to have your cake and eat it. We cry for depth. Depth comes in, we start making our strongest back fives or back fours or whatever have you, and the player that's not listed, they're in trouble. Now we've got, did I even say Tomiyasu when I was talking about the defensive options? Big him up as well. We've got different options, different game states, and I wonder who is going to be the first choice left back. You know, Timber can play on either side, as can Tomiyasu. You know, statistically, you know, Calafiori's played the majority of his games at left back, and he's left-footed, and he's been bought for big money as well. And I do think, as good as he is, we need to give the 22-year-old time, man. I wouldn't say it's an unnecessary signing, but you are right. There is other areas to address, and hopefully we do such people. And I do think the club know this, man. It's been a minute, my dude. By the way, thoughts on the away kit? Not gonna lie, I kind of like it. I'm therefore copying it. I think Arsenal and Adidas have missed for once, man. If I'm completely honest with you, bro, I think it's a miss. I think it's an L. I'm not really for it. Again, by the way, people, a bunch of videos to come out today. I'm live with you lot now. Again, this Calafiori stuff has kind of messed up the schedule because I've got a video coming out with Cecil. I think that comes out at 12. So shortly after this, I've got one with Tom Canton and one with Bav. So I've got your weekend sorted, people, man. And I think there's a couple of other tactical videos to come out. And shamelessly, when we get into the Calafiori stuff, I am going to clip up that segment, put it on YouTube. We've got to get these engagements. But yeah, man, I wouldn't say it's unnecessary, really and truly. But going back to the away kit, we've missed for once, man. Like, it just looks like Lynx Africa, really. I'm not gonna get it. I can't lie. Normally, I buckle to the pressure. It just doesn't look good, if I'm honest with you. It's quite crap, but you know, if we go on an unbeaten run, I'm gonna like it. Shout out my mods and my members and whatnot. That I see you in the comments. Death taxes. Arsenal sign a centre back every window next season with Defo signing the centre back. Listen, if we can spin the block for Jarrell Hatto from Ajax, who's been linked with Real Madrid, I'm all for that, man. Antonio, I hope you're doing well and safe. Just want all the untrusted bench warmers gone and upgrades brought in. The Nelsons, Etal need gone this summer. Finn squad needs ending. You said it there. Finn squad needs ending. I think statistically, there's 2 extra games in the new Champions League format. Obviously, we want to go as far as we can in the Premier League, the Champions League, the League Cup, and the FA Cup. Mikel Arteta did say a few weeks ago that we've got one of the smallest squads in the league, which again, we can't afford to keep moving like that. I do wonder for Nelson, who's still linked with West Ham, will the club let him go without bringing in a wide man? Now, I agree with you. You know, Nelson needs to stay fit and needs to go somewhere else where he can play. Evidently, we need an upgrade, so it's best for all parties if we can get a decent fee. You've seen anything from 10 to 15 to 20 to as high as 30 million. It seems like West Ham's the one he's got his heart set on, but he's been linked with Brighton as well as other clubs. I hate to throw Smith Rowe into that boat, but again, he's linked with clubs away, and if we can sell these players and reinvest, keyword if we can reinvest, keep it moving, I think you're bang on the money in the circle there. What have you also said? Why would fans be unhappy with signings before we see them play? All the moaning about White and Tommy proves we need to wait and see. I mean, anyone that's upset about Calafiori before he's kicked a ball for Arsenal, I think they need to go outside. And if they're in the United Kingdom, the weather's actually quite decent. Go outside, get an ice cream and relax, man, really. But you are right. You have to give people a chance. You know, I was cool with Tomiyasu's initial signing. I'm cool with Calafiori's. I was a big fan of Martin Odegaard. And I think everyone liked Declan Rice and a couple of others, as well as Thomas Partey. But you look at the Kai Havertz's, he didn't universally convince. You look at how Aaron Ramsdale was spoke of last season versus when he first walked in. The same with Benjamin White, as you said. You're bang on the money. You have to give people a chance, essentially. Trossard's a lie. Jorginho's another one. Shout out the guys in Ireland, man. David, appreciate you. Good morning to you and everyone tuned in, man. It's nice to be back live. It feels a bit weird, man. And I know some of you are probably thinking, is this a video or is he live? Think we could see Arsenal play with 3 centre-backs with Calafiori, where the full-backs can invert and the centre-back can step into midfield, depending on what's happening on the field. Also wouldn't need another centre-mid. Good problems. This is what we need. If Arteta wants to train us to be able to play a back 3, a back 4, Calafiori plays left back, Timber plays there, Timber plays right back, Calafiori's there, Tommy and Ben White are there. We've got different partnerships and game requirements, and also in terms of closing out games as well, because obviously in theory, everyone could play, but only 2 fullbacks could be out there. So let's just imagine let's just assume Benjamin White and Calafiori are starting the games. To be able to close games out with Tomiyasu and Timber is great. You know, when it comes to 1v1 defending, like I don't think Calafiori, Tomiyasu is anyone's starting first choice on a consistent basis fullback. If you're playing the Mo Salahs and these kind of players of this world, Tommy's the one you want to stick on them and let him, you know, mark them out the game. But yeah, we got good problems. As I said, we prayed for times like this. We prayed for days like this, Arsenal fans. And again, I'd say the most important thing for me is not only these having good defenders of a great age profile, but the whole outlook on defending at this team is serious now. So they're just going to thrive, really. Greetings, my guy. Would you rather keep Smith Rowe or Nelson? Smith Rowe every day of the week, man. I do think Nelson's got a lot more to give. I think he needs a platform. I think he needs to play, but I think he gets too many injuries. But Smith Rowe, really and truly, but you know, you look at Smith Rowe, there's probably, well, I say probably, I don't know. I hope a new midfielder arrives at this football club for one. So you've got potentially a new one. You would argue Jorginho and Partey are ahead of him as well. Obviously, Declan Rice is seen in him as a midfield profile ahead of him. You're not playing in the 10 ahead of Odegaard. It seems like Smith Rowe off the left, it isn't going to happen. So the Highlanders are going to have to make us some money this window, man. You know, if you can get Nketiah, Smith Rowe, Nelson through the door, young Charlie Patino, you know, you get something decent for Kivior. We've already got Lokonga and Tavares gone. We need to get some outgoings. You know, I hate to refer to football as this, but it's a business at the end of the day, and you know you need to bring money in as well as spending, or the cash flow isn't going to make sense. Mr. Legend DG, what do you make of the Obi Martins talk? We'll get into it. I'll be honest, I don't care. I don't care. Talented footballer, very talented footballer. It is a shame to see, especially if he goes to United or wherever. It is a shame. Quality footballer. His end product is improving beyond just scoring goals. His decision making is improving. Obviously, you want to see all these Highlanders, much less the talented ones, progress to the first team. But it is what it is. If you want to leave, innit? Really, you've got one life to live. If you feel going away from Arsenal and going elsewhere, it is what it is. You know, I know people will look at Koja, Dewberry and Waters, and I support them leaving as well, and Lino and all of these guys. That kind of age, them kind of ages there, the club needs to avoid getting into moments like that where deals are running down and we're kind of crippled. I would then say, you know, for someone like Obi Martin, he's 16. You know, he's not trying to sign scholarship terms at Arsenal Football Club for whatever reason. It could be Arteta. It could be he doesn't feel there's a pathway, even though he probably would have started for the 21s. He could feel he's got a better gig somewhere else. At the end of the day, you need to do what you need to do in your career to get to where you need to get to. And if that's away from Arsenal, do your thing. And I think every Premier League club has to be, you know, kind of accepting of that is going to happen. You know, you look at Chelsea where the situations are different, but spare foot for Chelsea fans, I can't remember his last name, but that young Rio guy that Liverpool are apparently about to sign, he is going to be a first team player for Liverpool one day. So it is what it is, man. DG, all I ask is not to see Havertz at 8 ever again. David, tell him again, I don't want to see that unless I wake up and he looks like Ballack or Bastian Schweinsteiger or a player of that ilk. Yes, but the midfield thing is a myth, man. I don't want to say Kai Havertz can't play there. He's a German international, plays for Arsenal, he's a Champions League winner, but I don't want to see him in that left 8. And I actually think, obviously, Mikel Arteta is not an idiot. He knows Kai Havertz. Everybody knows Kai Havertz can play as a false 9. And I think he looks better as a 9 at Arsenal than he did at Chelsea, but he scored a Champions League winner at Chelsea. We all know he's a versatile player and he can play there, but I personally think Mikel Arteta struck gold. I think Kai Havertz's injury, Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus' injury, Kai Havertz's form, you know, I just think he thought, you know what, throw him up front. And I think that's Havertz is a striker for us. Of course, there are opportunities that I don't want to see where you could play central midfield, but yeah, I'm with you with that. I don't want to see that. I want to see him play up front or that's it, man. And like Inner Circle has said here, the number 8 experiment is done. DG, by the way, going to any Emirates Cup games, not going to lie, I saw the ticket prices, said F it, I'm going to the Lyon game. Watch along settings, man. We're getting back in watch along mode. Man said Cauliflower 8 taking you, man, to the league. Will be there for the stinkers. Who have Liverpool signed, Marcel? Don't think we didn't see Rabiot reject you lot. You lot tried to get Lenny Euro all summer and he ended up at United. It's not easy, man. And don't think we don't see Trent Alexander-Arnold rumours. At the end of the season, our left-hand side had 3 right-footed players there. Tomiyasu, Rice, Trossard. We need to fix that. Calafiori is a massive upgrade on Kiwior. He's one of the best available for cheap. You must be in the conversation and we got the talent. He said it there. What else can we say there, man? Have you ever thought Arteta might be trying to get his back free at the back plan going again? He tried it a few times and didn't have the personnel. I mean, the more solutions and formations we can have, you know, in our game, why not? Who wouldn't want that, essentially? And Calafiori is the perfect player. Can play as a back in a back three, play in the back 4. Like, I'm all for that. It makes us more difficult to play, man. If it smells like Links Africa, I'm forever getting it. The Wakanda kits is all right, although I get more Palestine vibes, Free Palestine, but it's legit a Wakanda kit. I like the sentiment behind the away kit and the inspiration, but it's a miss, bro. Like, you can't win them all. Look at the great kits we've had since we've gone back to Adidas. Come on, man. Yeah, firstly, apologies, people. I think we should make the move for Neto as Nelson's replacement. Likewise, Eze for Smith Rowe. Eze, you're going to have to activate his release clause. Have we got 60 million spared? This is where the outgoings are going to be vital, really and truly. Let Nelson go. They need booting out, as Arteta clearly doesn't trust them to start. In that case, get rid. Again, yeah, we want curtain raisers, but also raising the floor. And going back to Pedro Neto, the only criticism I can have of Pedro Neto is injuries. But I would love to wake up tomorrow and we've signed Pedro Neto, we've signed Nico Williams, but easier said than done. Fabrizio said we're paying 40 million euros plus 5 million add-ons and a sell-on clause just now. We'll get into that in a second. Keep your thoughts coming, man. Romanos and Ornsteins and all of these guys coming out the woodworks. And speaking of Arsenal, I still see a way Gabriel Jesus can hold off that 9 position. Gabriel Jesus is never going to be a goal scorer. So a bit like Kai Havertz, who is scoring goals. And I'm not trying to mock Kai Havertz, but it's really been from December to the end of the year and he had a great run. I just don't know. Are you going to continue that? Is it going to be more of the same? Because it's a bit mad. Like, do we really need goals of a team that got 91 goals in the Premier League, 100 odd in all comps? You know, do we really need a striker? I believe yes, but potentially are we overstating it? Because we don't have a clinical man, really. I love Gabriel Jesus. I fit Gabriel Jesus' problems, but he's never going to score the goals. And I must admit, Gabriel Jesus is more the exciting player. Take nothing away from Kai Havertz, but with Kai Havertz, he does. Don't get twisted. Gabriel Jesus is a fighter. You know, he gave Van Dijk problems. Van Dijk said he's one of the toughest to play against. But Kai Havertz gives us a lot of height. We can win the first and second balls and keep it moving. Hey, David, you're far too kind. One love for the super chat. Thanks for the content and hustle, my guy. David, thank you for your support and everyone else. I just read it's 50 million euros, not 40. But hey, however much it is, just pay them the money and let's keep it moving, really and truly. Keep your thoughts coming, people. Let's go over a bit of this news as well, people, because as much as I like the convo, we have a job to do. Now, Romano, this is the first thing I saw before I got the thumbnail and everything sorted. Romano said, I understand Arsenal are now close to reach a total agreement with Bologna for Riccardo Calafiori. Positive talks took place behind the scenes with the player's agent, Alessandro Lucci, on it. Arsenal now confident to get it done. Personal terms remain agreed deal until June 2029. So personal terms are done. We're getting the fee over the line. Medical soon. It's lying to us that you grew up watching Thierry Henry, holding scarves, all of these kind of things. Has Romano provided an update? I've never, you know what, Romano's big up Romano, but he is annoying to follow because he remixes the same things again and again. I've never been more happy to see Romano news. He said as well, Arsenal and Bologna have reached an agreement for Calafiori after breakthrough revealed earlier. I understand the fee is 40 million euros plus 5 million in add-ons and a sell-on clause. Final step needed, Basel and Bologna to agree 50% sell-on payments. Then here we go. Bit conflicting where Basel's concerned, because we have seen some reports that, you know, they're playing hardball. You've seen some reports that Basel are not an issue. And for what it's worth, if I'm Basel, I'm saying to Bologna, and not that I have to talk to Arsenal, that's your problem. You do what you need to do with Arsenal. When you signed Calafiori last summer, you agreed to give us 50% of a sell-on clause. I want 50% of 40 odd million. Now, obviously, that has a knock-on effect for Bologna. They want to dot I's and cross T's properly. We have heard that we was haggling over 5 to 8 million. It did feel like the calm before the storm, and we've got the deal done, really. Like, I wonder how much we'll continue to buy players from Bologna, really, because that's now Tomiyasu and now Calafiori. I wonder if it keeps going up. There was even rumors we tried to offer Kivior. That didn't take us nowhere. So, yeah, that's what Romano has said, people. DiMarzio has said it's a 50 million euros package. Arsenal are pushing to seal the final agreement with Bologna. The last add-ons and sell-on structure are what's there. Ornstein has said Arsenal accelerating their efforts to sign Bologna defender Calafiori. Arsenal are now progressing the situation and look to complete a deal for the 22-year-old as soon as possible, with other clubs looking for a similar profile this summer. I'm not going to lie. I'll say around Thursday, when it started becoming apparent that this is going to drag on, you know, you did see Real Madrid links once upon a time. Juventus have been in the backwaters. You're thinking, oh, you know what? I don't want to go over that Mudryk stuff again. The Italy international is comfortable playing either as a centre-half or a left-back and impressed at the Euros. We all know he was initially at Roma. Again, check out the several tactical videos I've done on him. He spent a year at Basel playing primarily as a left-back / left wing-back. Obviously, Thiago Motta moved him to a central defender. And it also means that you can rest, you know, Gabriel, and it's not always that. We've got good issues. Now, I've never been one of those fans, and I think football fans are weird. Like, Saliba's got nothing to do with this, but people were used to sit there and say, oh, Saliba, you can't play on the left-hand side. Oh, come on, anyone that's played Sunday League, bro, if you can play as a right-sided centre-half, you can play on the left. Obviously, there are factors where you're going to look stronger, but you can play on either side, right? It's not that deep, really and truly. But now we've got different options. Again, God forbid, but if something happens, you've got, you know, Gabriel swapping out for Calafiori. Saliba could play as a left-sided centre back. Then you've got someone like Benjamin White in. Then you've obviously got the Timbers, the Tomiyasus. We need to win something for me, man. We're finally getting decent options. And I don't want to go left with what I'm about to say and go off topic, people, but I think up front, yes, I would like a striker and a winger. But we've got some good options. Defensively, Calafiori is whetting the appetite, the age profiles, the options, the competition for places. We dreamed of stuff like this, right? Central midfield. Some of you have been supporting me for years. How passionate have I been about central midfield? We're not talking about central midfield in the same vein, are we? You know, take nothing away from Jorginho, from Partey, from on paper at the moment, Smith Rowe and Fabio Vieira are still here. But apart from Martin Odegaard and Declan Rice, I'm a bit nervous because they're the only kind of long-termers here, if I'm honest with you. You know, obviously Odegaard can play as an 8, but he plays in that kind of advanced role. So if we focus on people that are playing in the pivot, I don't care if it's Merino, Zubimendi, this guy, that guy. I need to be looking at that midfield in the same vein, because games are won and lost in either end of the pitch, as you guys know, but it's played in midfield. And midfield has never been that more important, especially where you look at how football is about NBA kind of matches now. It's all high turnovers and whatnot. You know, you've got fullbacks running into midfield. So it is about that. I'm not chatting nonsense, but you get the point. What have you said here? Shout out social joys off topic. The blue exclusive training kit is better than the away kit. Leaked third kit, cop the blue training kit. I haven't seen the blue one, but based on the way you're saying it, I'm here for this, man. Defensively, we're good now. Get a midfielder and 8 since Partey is staying, and a winger, then we're good, and hopefully a striker. I doubt it, though. Kyle, I'm with you with that, but at the same time, the Athletic are not Edu and Mikel Arteta and all of these kind of things, but it seems like the club are continuing with Declan Rice in that 8 role. Like, he can obviously do the 6 stuff, but you're going to stay in the 8. So I'm of the belief we're going to find the 6 now. But in an ideal world, I'd love to have Declan Rice, another 8 and another 6. So I'm with you. I just want a central midfielder at this point, man. I don't think we can do anything serious unless we act in that regards, man. If we don't sign what we need to sign this upcoming market, I think we're in issues. Don't forget the field tilt. Shout out my guy, Different Knock, man. I need to get him on next week, but I think that's one for him. We need a 6 and an 8 to go with Partey and Jorginho. I agree with you, David, but I don't see us buying 2 midfielders and holding on to Partey for a year and Jorginho. I think, you know, we'll probably bring one in this window, and then you bring a next one in next summer, maybe January. I wonder if Partey and Jorginho will both go. You never know. Jorginho could sign an extension and be more of a coach. Partey's form, how many times have you seen a player looks like their days are numbered, their form is out of this world, and then they get a new deal? I do think this is the last season. We're going to have Partey. DG, do you see Calafiori long-term as a left-sided centre-back? I do feel Gabriel's ceiling is reached. We don't get a better version of him. No, that's harsh. That's harsh on Gabriel. That's very harsh on Gabriel. And, you know, he's got the bozo gene and whatnot, or he had that previously. I think he's only now starting to get his flowers. The minute Saliba was here, Saliba got a chant. Gabriel only now got that. I think that's a bit harsh. You look at how Gabriel played last season beyond the obvious. He's taken that fire, that Brazilian hunger, you know, that kind of, because he used to get rattled quite a lot, and he's molded it in a great way. I think that's harsh, man. I think Gabriel can go up some levels really, really and truly. But obviously, you know, if Calafiori develops, if you're able to bring in Gerard Hatto next summer, then naturally you have to engineer for Gabriel's departure someday, really. It's good problems. If Gabriel's form falls off a cliff, or, you know, if we had Calafiori last summer where it seemed like Gabriel kind of lost his head with the Saudi links, maybe if Calafiori was there, we never see this return of form of Gabriel. Now, you're either a finisher or you can't be learnt. Gabriel Jesus is not the answer, never will be. Unfortunately, on the goal scoring front, I agree. If we get the pre-World Cup injury Jesus, I'm confident. I'm backing Gabriel Jesus. I'm not saying he's going to score 20 league goals. I'm just saying he's going to put a lot more respect on his name. And even that, will we even buy a winger? Because I want an inside forward and a striker, but the club might sit there and say, you know what, Kai Havertz, you're the striker. Gabriel Jesus, you can play up there. You were the guy we signed. You changed our lives, like Mikel Arteta said. But at the same time, you can obviously play out wide. I've said it from the moment we signed Gabriel Jesus, in that we need to use him how City used him. You're a rotational player that can play across the front three, but you can't make the difference for us like that. Lovely super chat. Appreciate all the support, whether it's super chats, engagement, conversations, etc. Don't forget to hit the like button. Big up DG. Finally, we got our guy. Time for fans to trust Edu and Arsenal to get the signings we need. Stop panicking and relax. Keep up the good work. So, yes, this is what I'm saying. And for me, I think you can praise and critique fairly, but this is why I always say I'll reserve judgment on the business we've done when the market is shut, because I don't know what the club are doing on the back burners. But as a fan, I understand this transfer season. Everyone's hyped. You're seeing United making 1-2 movements. You're seeing Aston Villa actually sign 1-2 players. Kivior turning down the Bologna move as he wants to stay at Arsenal gives me the hint that it will be Zinchenko leaving this summer instead of him. Zinchenko's got a new agent. We'll get on to all of this, people. I promise you lot. But Zinchenko allegedly has a new agent. Why are you getting a new agent? Did the agreement with your old one just come to an end? Are you trying to, you know, sort out your future at Arsenal? Are you trying to get a move elsewhere or whatever in it? I don't know. I think literally all options are on the table, because there is a reality to keep both Kivior and Zinchenko. For them, it will be peak. You're not going to play that much. But for a selfish Arsenal fans and for Mikel Arteta to have bodies and in case of injuries is great. Where I look at it, though, is it depends how you look at it, because I guess from a business point of view, and it's even hypocritical, because I guess from a business point of view, you probably more want to move on Zinchenko. I'm not a pocket watcher. I don't know what these players get, but naturally you would imagine Zinchenko is on healthier wages in comparison to Kivior. And obviously, Kivior is kind of on the young side, so he can kind of get better. What you see is what you get from Zini. So the club might say, do you know what? Cut your losses in that regards. I also think the fact that Zinchenko has 2 years left and he is a serial winner from his City days and he is important. Arteta still rates him, but the very fact the deal's running down, a bit like with Smith Rowe and a bit like with Partey, is quite telling. But then you look at it, who is more likely to get a better fee and who's actually got interest? Now, no bids to our knowledge have been placed for both Kivior and Zinchenko. To our knowledge, there's been no official bids. But it seems like there's more interest in Kivior. Since that man came to the Premier League, there's still been interest from Italy. And you've been linked with the Bolognas and we tried to offer him as a mate way. You've been linked with Juventus and potentially reuniting with your old manager, Motta. You've been linked with Inter and AC. Whether they're putting down offers, whether they'll give Arsenal what they believe it is what the player's worth is another thing, but it seems like there's more of a market for Kivior, and I do think Arteta would rather bet on on Zinchenko from a tactical point of view, really, because for his faults, Zinchenko can play that inverted role. I'm not buying Kivior, but he's not exactly a composing great defender. You know, like you look at someone like Tomiyasu. I'm not trying to downplay him because he is relatively bow-footed, but he's not the sexiest of footballers to watch in that Arsenal team. But you know he's decent at that at going forward, and he's improved, and you know he's spot on defensively. Kivior's not been that. Let's be honest. There's been games he's done great. He's done great against Chelsea twice in the last 2 years. He's done great against Liverpool. I actually think fans are harsh on his performance against Manchester City away from home just because he got turned in one moment by Bernardo Silva. Of course, he embarrassed himself like Raya and Meni against Bayern Munich, but generally he's done all right. But I do think Kivior, it was a bit like, it's not the same, but the case study of the hype that he was getting was ridiculous. You know, he came into the team because of injuries. Let's be honest, I'm not even dissing him because you could only play what is in front of you. In a sense, you can only play what's in front of you, but we're not, you know, when Kivior came into that team and he did well to the end of the year, Arteta reverted it back to a normal fullback system, which Arteta don't want to do that really. He wants to do the inverted, and you're not being tested. We're clearing out stadiums by half time. Like I said, I'm not buying Kivior, but you're not that. So if you're not really great defensively to push Gabriel, you're not really great at left back. You're probably only ahead of Tierney in the pecking order. I reckon Tomiyasu, Timber, obviously Calafiori, now Zini, they're all ahead of you. There's that. And listen, if Kivior thinks he can stay and fight, go and do your thing. I don't mind that. And I also can't begrudge Kivior if he says, you know what, I've given it a fair crack at the club now. I need to move on. I understand it. But I also understand if Kivio's saying, you know what, big up Bologna, but Napoli's onto me, Roma's onto me, Juventus links. I want to see what my agent can do, really, because Arsenal maybe need to move me on. I don't want to just go somewhere for the sake of it, really. And I think it's telling that Arsenal want an obligation to buy if he does go on loan versus a loan, if I'm honest with you. So we have to see, man. I reckon Zini's more likely to stay purely because I see Zini doing the whole I'd rather stay and fight for my place kind of thing, really. So we'll have to see, man. But yeah, we all know Calafiori's been good for the football club. Yeah, we all know for his football club in Italy, we all know he helped Bologna get Champions League football, and he's about to become an Arsenal player. Apparently, Arsenal are now finalising a move for Bologna's Riccardo Calafiori, and the move is now in the final details. The move had stalled for some days as Bologna tried to I'm reading two different things. Tried to reduce Basel's sell-on clause, and there was a breakdown in those negotiations. But now it seems as if the move has opened up all over again, and it's close to being completed. We've gone over what demands were said. So yeah, it's nice to see we're getting over the line, and it's an agreement allegedly for 50 million euros. Everyone at this point is reporting the same thing, you know. So yeah, big up Basel for not getting bullied. You did it, you know. Business is dirty, you know, really, when you think about it, because Bologna last season, in cold-hearted writing on paper, said we'll give you 50% of sell-on clause for Calafiori. Now you're trying to go back on this. Now maybe they clearly predicted he could go up somewhere because someone was smart, but they probably didn't expect, you know, the great season that Bologna had individually and collectively, and then also what he's done for Italy in their disappointing Euro campaign. So yeah, and yesterday he actually said, you know, again, you would have seen this clip where the CEO said there's no new news and he hasn't heard about Juventus rumours. So it seems like we're moving closer. Chido Obi Martin, apparently Manchester United are exploring a deal to sign our schoolboy striker. I've said it before, I think the 16-year-old is a very good player, and if he stays, great. If you leave, it is what it is. I think too much is being made. He's got a fantastic goal scoring record. I think his individual play is improving. But I do think a lot of fans are, again, I'm not saying it's right, but a lot of fans are losing their hair over a player. They 100% ain't watched him play for 90 minutes. cool. He's been, you know, we all remember the 10-0 win against the Liverpool kids, but it was an underage Liverpool side, even that. And I like him. He did very well at the Euros, at the under-17s Euros. I'm very surprised he's not in the England setup, much less the Denmark setup. I know he grew up there at a point and whatnot. He doesn't owe anyone anything. Go where you think is the best place to do your career. Let's keep it moving. And I know to see Koza Jubilee leave for free, Waters leave for free. As I said earlier, these things are frustrating. Arsenal need to do better when these players hit 18 to around 20. But he's 16. Our hands are crippled. The club have given him a pathway, given him wages that they think he could get. He's 16. You can do what you want. I don't know if even, it's Man United, and to learn from Ruud van Nistelrooy, and if they've sold you a better project, great. But you know, the Dortmund links make more sense. You know, Man United, Arsenal, Bayern, you know, you're kind of gonna face the same issue. So I wish him all the best, but honestly, I don't give a flying monkeys, man. I'll be real with you. I can't talk too tough, but if Man United are sniffing around Hale End, if they were to prize a certain other Hale End talent, then I'd be upset. Moving on, Crystal Palace have joined Fulham in the race for Smith Rowe. I'm trying not to cry, people. I don't want Smith Rowe to go, but the reality is the more clubs that are interested in him, the more the price is driven up. As much as I want him to stay, and all these reports say Mikel Arteta rates him, it is probably best for him to go where you're going to get first in football. Crystal Palace are vying with Fulham to sign Emil Smith Rowe, but Arsenal are expected to reject their offer for the England attacker. Fulham's bid worth up to 30 million, including add-ons, was turned down by Arsenal earlier this week, and Mikel Arteta is understood to want to keep Smith Rowe despite using him sparingly last season. Palace are believed to be preparing an offer of 35 million, including add-ons, to try to tempt the London rivals into cashing in on the 23-year-old. Respectfully, Fulham, no, sorry, I'm reading that wrong. Palace, respectfully to you lot, we're not rivals. We're definitely not. We're not rivals. I thought they said Fulham there. Fulham are also expected to return with an improved offer. I wonder where he'd go. He needs to go, man. You played 346 minutes last season, which is crazy, really and truly. Liverpool have been linked with Gerhi, as have we, people. But yeah, and this has said Arsenal have yet to follow up their interest in Eze. So maybe we're trying to get the Calafiori deal done. Team News and Tix has apparently said on our slow start to the summer, which seems like it's picking up, no financial issues known, which is great. Sales priority as KSC/people above don't want to keep investing if there's no return from transfer fees. And I don't think that's wrong. I think, you know, I think we do need to do better at sales, really and truly. You know, if in another world, Koza Jubilee could make 10 odd million for the club. Waters the same, Sosa the same, and et cetera, really. So I think we need to do better at sales. You know, you look at the Tavares, and signings go wrong, but you look at the Tavareses, the Lokongas, the Kiviors, there's not too much bang for our buck, really. And the majority of the signings have worked, and it's a business, but it's also about football. But the signings that have worked, there's not really resale value there. Like, we're not going to make too much back on, if anything, on Partey, Gabriel, Jesus, Jorginho, Trossard, Declan Rice, obviously, Kai Havertz. So we do need to go back. We need to get better. But at the same time, we do need to keep investing. Merino is still linked with Arsenal Football Club, people. Apparently, sources close to Arsenal expect a summer where the new profile of recruits are more akin to Jorginho and Trossard, which are obviously more experienced individuals. We've got an interest in Mikel Merino, people, as well as Zubimendi, so we'll have to see. Man United have actually been linked with Zubimendi. Zinchenko has switched agents, which, of course, is going to add to the uncertainty. Why he switched agents, I don't know, but Zinni's faces a fight. Listen, at the end of the day, you've been at City, so I don't expect him to run, but I'm playing Calafiori ahead of you, Tomiyasu ahead of you, Timber ahead of you, and as we get more all-rounded as a side, the pros that Zinchenko has are not outweighed by the cons, really and truly. There was a time where we weren't creating if we never had our left back on the pitch, which is not acceptable. So I just think, unfortunately, Zinchenko, I think you're a liability. I do think you could stay and be a body and be part of the squad. And if the sun is shining at the Emirates and we're dominating possession and the other team is camped in their own half, great, you're there. But games where we need to be switched on defensively, I do think you're scapegoated a lot, but you're a liability. You're extremely a liability. And he's clearly an athlete. He's a professional footballer. I just think the other people that play in your role are a lot more athletic than you. So thank you for initially, you know, bringing that inverted role to us as a club and what you've done. But forget all of that, man, if I'm honest with you. So, yeah, Zinchenko has changed agents. Mikel Arteta is understood to want to keep Smith Rowe at Arsenal despite using him sparingly last season. Smith Rowe is due to depart for the club's pre-season tour to America on Sunday, with Arteta set to decide on his future, people. Team News and Tix has said people within the Arsenal squad think Gabriel Jesus is a top 5-9 in the world at his best. That's how highly they rate him. Let's get back to your best champion. Charles Watts has said, I've always been told this is the summer that Charlie Patino leaves Arsenal. That could change but I've always been of the expectation that he'll be going this summer one way or another. So there you have that. It'll be telling if he goes on tour. If Barcelona can't get Nico Williams done for financial reasons, then Arsenal are positioning themselves. He's our top choice. I know Arsenal tried really hard to get him before Euro 2024, but his preference was Barca. So it is what it is there. Not sure on the legitimacy of the links or the source, but apparently Arsenal have held talks with Pedro Neto's agent this week, and the player has made it clear he's prioritising a move to Arsenal. The club view Neto as a potentially great addition to their forward line and have been told 50 million would secure the deal. I'd be on that. Nico Williams would be first choice if we had a chance, but you get the point. Again, Reece Nelson apparently is hungry for more first team football and keen on the move to West Ham, with a fee of around 15 to 20 million believed to be enough to sign him, and apparently West Ham are trying to get Kante. I mean, 15, 20 million for Nelson. You stay fit, go do your thing. Apparently, the asking price of Ivan Toney has been slashed, people. Some say it's 60 million, which equates to about 50. Some say it's 40. I mean, I don't think Toney's the answer, but I don't think he's a bad signing. I do think he'll give us something, but I don't think Arsenal are involved. And allegedly, Arsenal, Chelsea, and United have all pulled out of the race. That only leaves Spurs. Apparently, West Ham are fighting for him as well. I wonder if he runs down his deal and leaves on the free. Joel Hato has been linked with Real Madrid for 2025, so that could be something we're looking at. This has said Smith Rowe wants to move to Crystal Palace. Some reports say he wants to move to Fulham, so there's a lot of conflicting news there. Man United are interested in Zubimendi this summer. I mean, I wonder if they get him. Team news and ticks on Nico Williams and wages said the player was initially quoting clubs 300 grand a week. No way Barca will pay that wage if he does move there. Player will, however, still want an increase on his Bilbao wages if he does move clubs. I mean, if he keeps up those performances, then you've got to pay the going rate, people. On Smith Rowe, team news and ticks has said Palace will bid, but haven't yet. Fulham have. Don't think Fulham will reach an agreement by Sunday. Personal terms shouldn't be a problem for Fulham. Conflicting news from numerous journalists regarding the bid and its value. So it's a case of make of that what you will. As well as Zubimendi, we've been linked with Zabani, who I'm sure plays for Bournemouth. Do we really see us signing another defender? I don't know what Arteta's got planned, but really, I mean, if you was to sign a right-sided centre half, I kind of get it. But you'd imagine we're quite stocked well defensively, if I'm honest with you. So we'll have to see in that regards. Again, in relation to other content, people, that should be out in a bit, really. Video with Cecil. I am a smart guy. I think I moved it to 1 p.m. I didn't even know I did that. Tom Canton vids, and obviously, if I can remember correctly, Babs as well. So yeah, your weekends, people. I've got your weekends, man. I've got your weekends. I actually thought that would be the content to tie the weekend over, but that seems to be the transfer news. Let me see what you lot have been saying in the chat as well. DJ, I have a question. Can you tell me more about Ishmael Carver? He caught my eyes and I think he has a lot of potential. Decision making looks smart and decisive, but no one knows him better than you. There definitely is. I think he's decent. I think I think there's been moments where he's popped up with some vital goals. I like his level-headedness. I think he's got a good technical level. I think he's good 1v1. I don't expect him to make it at the club, but he does have that element of a bit like Eddie. He's not Eddie Nketiah, but like surprise expectations, if that makes sense. Good cash in on Balogun, in my opinion, wasn't going to do it for us anyways. I hear that. Arteta didn't fancy Balogun. That's all there is to it. Balogun was good, never gave him a chance. I hear that, but at the same time, why should he get a chance, really? And I agree. Like, I would love to see the Highlanders, but as someone who was doing the loan reports, it was clear you weren't the answer in Mikel Arteta's mind. And also, not to take away his goals, but when you was looking at his performances, his general play improved and whatnot, but a lot of his goals were penalties, which I'm not dissing. But I think a lot of people were hyping up the loan spell, a bit like where Reece Nelson and Hoffenheim whenever he scored. We got a very good fee for Balogun, really. And I hope we get a decent fee for Eddie, because I know Eddie Nketiah hasn't had that goal scoring season that Balogun had, but he is an England international. I know I'm moving like his agent. He has been the first choice striker at Arsenal. He is still young, and strikers do peak late. And I genuinely don't think Eddie has scratched the surface of his potential. And I don't think he's a bad player. If players can't progress from the academy to the first team, get decent fees. I would have loved to have seen Balogun given an opportunity, because you never know. But it's a success story. You've come from the academy, played maybe 2 appearances for Arsenal Football Club, 90 minutes if that, and you've been sold for X amount, really. And that's what needs to become the minimum. I hate to look at other clubs, but for every Balogun, Joe Willock, what we could potentially get for Nketiah, Smith Rowe, and Reece Nelson, there's been a bunch of players that we could have got some decent fees walk away from this football club, really. DG, which midfielders do you think we'll get? Because the Merino links are getting more and more heat by the day. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, the Merino thing, he's got a year left on his deal. It seems quite feasible, but he's not only just linked with us. So yeah, man. So I even think Charlie's gonna go. Beref has obviously been sold and whatnot. To be honest, we need strength in depth. We need one from Williams / Neto, Calafiori, Zubimendi / Merino, and cover for the guard. 4 players in, 4 players out. Vincent, I don't think we're gonna sign an 8 I don't think we're gonna sign a 10, a more direct Odegaard replacement. If I'm honest, big up DG did that vid with Babs happen. Cool, no, it's out today, man. I've seen that comment a couple of times. Do you see Ethan being involved more this season? I feel like with Yalmao being 16, 17 and shining the Euros and Cheeto be mighty going, it's got everyone saying bloody from early. No 2 players are the same. And I think I don't know if you see it, but, you know, some of you would have seen my tweets last summer, ironically, where Yamal was playing at the under-17s World Cup. I think, under-17s Euros, was it? We watched so much football. Either way, I was tweeting about him last year. People underestimate how, like, he's physically developed. Like, I'm not saying he's bare tall and that, but physically can handle it. Ethan going to need a bit of time, and no 2 players are the same. But at the same time, plug them in. I do expect Ethan to be exposed to some minutes, man, because I do think long-term he's an 8 and a 10. I do think he could be afforded minutes, you know, out wide. And, you know, if you look at, Tom said this as well in the video to come out, when you look at the Reece Nelson minutes, we all know what Reece Nelson minutes are, right? Surely they're better to give them to Ethan. Gut feeling Zinni gets moved up the field and occasionally comes in at left back. But even if Zinchenko plays in midfield, and you never know, if Zinchenko plays in midfield and he's amazing, we don't care and whatnot. But really and truly, like, what does Zinchenko, if we're looking at Zinchenko midfielder now, what does he have that the others don't? What does he have? Because yeah, you can pass the ball, you can thread the lines, but you know, you're not. Zinchenko is better. I'd take this as a fullback myself. He's better when he's got, not that you get time to think in professional football, and he does play in midfield for his country, but he's got time to think. You can take 3-4 touches in midfield. You know, you don't really have that. And if you're a liability defensively at fullback, you're going to be a liability in the middle of the park. I just don't think it's the case. And if Zinchenko genuinely is going to be a midfielder at Arsenal, then I don't see you playing proper minutes like that. Of course, cool. You can play as a 10. You can play as an 8. You can be a body, but you're going to get little man minutes, essentially. Our team is such a level. We have to bring in players that fit in straight away. Tactically, skill-wise, have to match up. We can't just buy anyone. Calafiori telling Bologna, let me go and fulfill my dream. What does Mikel say in these vocals? Boy, I hear that, man. DG, what's Kroenke say about Arteta? I think we've gone over that. You know, I can't pronounce Jaden's name, but, you know, I think Aston Villa, you know, are probably saying, why didn't we give him a chance in the first place? Because we brought him back from Fulham, and I'm keen to see what he brings to the Premier League for Aston Villa. Aston Villa are doing all right, man. So, yeah, I think if you're a whole fan, you're vexed. Don't see how Zinni gets minutes, can't defend, slow, sell. This summer, I don't feel desperate like previous summer, so I can relax and just wait for signings to come in. We've come a long way. Big up DJ in the nation. For the Gabriel, doubters, and the Bozo Gene talk, I believe his ceiling isn't reached just yet. Maturity comes with age and improvement. And leadership. Like, let's be honest, big up Saliba. Saliba's a boss in his own right. But Gabriel's had to fulfill that big brother role and kind of be the calming influence. They really complement each other very well, man. Kivio and Zinni have to leave. Bring in Diamande. That's our backline completed in numbers and rotations. I think, you know, where the Gurhis and Diamandes, I think everyone knows we're not getting them guys, man. We're not getting them guys. We can't have Saliba and Gabriel playing that many minutes. We need to get our defenders to play 25, 28 games, give players a rest. I'm not going to lie. If they're available for 38 Premier League games and I want to see them play 38 games, you know, if we put teams to bed, then great. It is what it is, man. But we've got to remember we're trying to win stuff. But we do need to be able to rotate. And we did strike gold, didn't it, in that we kept Saliba fit. Saliba and Benjamin White in particular, because anything happened to them two last season, boy. I think Gabriel leaves in the next 2 seasons. We're getting Hatto. We have to see, man. You know, the Hatto thing is dead for right now, isn't it? Really and truly. Man said DG fakes for Cheeto, RVP 2.0. Have fun, man. I'm not one of them fans that's going to cry and whatnot, but I hear it, man. I need to start watching highlights. Ain't seen 1 minute of him play. Jesus, better hold up play than Havertz. Fair enough. I'm hoping Arsenal sign Nico Williams. It's the hope that kills, man. It's the hope that kills. Get me a striker, DG. Please inform Arteta and Kroenke. I mean, if I could, I don't think I'll be making YouTube videos. I'll be asking for a coaching job, to be honest with you. But yeah, man. My issue with the academy is we don't make money off the under-21 players. You have to sell 2 to 5 million of them. That funds the academy. There you have it. You know, and that's what it should be doing, essentially. But that's where Arsenal need to do better, man. Fury, appreciate you. Zinni doesn't play midfield for Ukraine anymore. They have real midfielders now. Left back is all he could do. There you have it, man. Joined the stream late, so I don't know if you've covered this, but how do you feel about losing the 16-year-old that we're losing? I know youth players is one of your specialities. Definitely not. I don't know why everyone says that, but for me, it is what it is. He's a talented player. Would have loved him to stay, but when the club's done all they can, they've sold you what they can sell you, and you want to keep it moving, have no regrets in life. Do what you need to do. For Arsenal, though, it does make me wonder who the hell is going to be the under-21 first-choice striker. And I do think there needs to be a couple of recruitments at that level to just have a competitive squad. It's a shame to lose him because I thought he would have been a main player for the under-18s in the FA Youth Cup, and I thought he would have played in the 21s. But I can't begrudge him. If he says, you know what, I'm not playing ahead of Gabriel Jesus, Kai Havertz, you've got Nketiah on paper, as well as Trossard and Martinelli, the club are probably going to bring in a striker. I hear it. Now, if you go to Man United, they might have a pathway for you, but, Josh Rezertsky can play in a bunch of roles. You've got Ramos Højlund. So I'm not too sure, but do what you need to do. For me, out of all the clubs I've seen him linked with, Arsenal, Newcastle, Bayern Munich, Man United, I understand the Frankfurt links and I understand the Dortmund links, but he needs to do what he needs to do in it. Calafiori will be our left back or Timber. I don't know. We need these issues. Smith Rowe plus cash for Eze would bang. It's true, but would Palace want that? Now, if they obviously want Eze, then great. I understand it. But for me, if I'm them, I want his 60-odd million. And yeah, you'd have Smith Rowe, but you've got a new exciting manager. I forgot the manager's name, but that Crystal Palace manager looks quite good in terms of attacking football, right? You've lost Elise. Do you really want to lose Eze as well? And I know he's not in the same position, but you got Gurhi. I think Ethan needs to be integrated into the first team in some degree, man. I do expect the bulk of his minutes to be made up at 21s, but I do expect to see him to be a prominent figure in and around Arsenal's bench, and hopefully he can make minutes. But at the same time, Arteta's first duty is to win the Premier League, so how far does giving youth players minutes go, man? All City defenders average 22 to 25 games a season. That's why they seem fresh. I hear that. Listen, do what needs to be done then. Mikel Arteta could easily become a sporting director if he wants. His ability to convince players for the club is amazing. I hear that. If Nuno Tavares was terrible at defending, why not play him as a winger? Not that I want him back. Because he's a terrible winger as well. I've said it before. Like, I'm a fullback. None of us wanted to. Maybe now with the Trents and these kind of Marcelos and these kind of players, but no one wanted to play fullback. We just weren't good strikers or central midfielders or wingers. So that's probably with that. And I've always felt Tavares is overrated. Like, people used to say he's a great attacker. No, he's not. If you've got 4 better options and you're shooting and putting it into row Z and into the sky in the final third, that's dead. If he was a winger, then on top of his crap decision making, you need him to get 10, 15 goals. Big up Tavares. It's not our problem anymore because it's an obligation. Unfortunately, though, there are some rumors he got injured just 22 minutes into his first preseason game. So we hope that isn't the thing. Big up, bro. Finally getting the ball rolling. Bring me one of those Spanish midfielders over Taya next. I hear that. Playmaking, he slept on due to his deficiencies. Zinchenko's obviously got great play. He's obviously a good player. He's great technically, but playmaking, I think it's oversold, if I'm honest. Am I the only one enjoying us in the market? Everyone's guessing who's coming. Rivals seem to care more than we do. Amen. What do you reckon happens with Kyle Edwards? Saw him against Enfield Town and physically looks too good to be doing 21s ball for another season. Go on loan or leave permanently and go and start your career. I think that's that. Because respectfully to Kyle, I would love for him to make it, but you're not going to get your chance here, are you? Like that. Only reason Balogun was going to force a move into the starting 11 is because at the time we had Laka and Eddie. Much love to both, neither convincing though. If Balogun was still here, could he chat to Kai and Gabriel Jesus? I'm not too sure. Need to sell on the likes of Eddie before you give them 100 bags a week. Just reduces the chance of profit. I hear that. I think I've done one about Timber. I don't really, Timber's brother, I think he's kind of basic still for what we're doing. 43 months down, but DG, if you were Smith Rowe, who would you sign for Fulham or Palace? Appreciate that. It's a techie one because I would have to have a conversation with both. I think Fulham would be a good fit for him. And hopefully if we did sell him to Fulham, they don't take 4 points off us like last season. If I was Smith Rowe, I'd say Crystal Palace just because he's a Croydon lad. Obviously, they've got. I rate Marco Silva, but their new manager looks very exciting for attacking players. I think I would more move to Palace. I'd more do the Palace thing, but Fulham look more likely to. I don't know, man, because Fulham have lost a big player in Paulinho. Are they going to reinvest that? I'd more want to play for Palace, man. I'd want to, because Palace are on spoiling people's day. No one, respectfully to Fulham, Arsenal fans, we definitely can't talk, but nobody wants to travel. Would you rather go to Craven Cottage or to Selhurst Park? Nobody wants to go and play Crystal Palace at their place. DG, which midfielders do you think will get? Because the Merino links are getting more and more heat day by day. No, I think I answered that, but I don't know, man. It looks like the Merino one looks feasible. He's got a year left on his deal. Honestly, I don't know, man. There's probably a midfielder out there that none of us have spoken about that hasn't been linked with us that could be on his way, man. So yeah, Calafiori finally done. Well, you got to remember, until he's holding shirts, it's a myth. I like the Palace project, but Fulham got a good coach here. You said it there. Graham Bailey, Man United are open to letting Mason Mount leave the club this summer. To be fair, he was linked with us before Kai Havertz, but I mean, where's Mason Mount go from here? Like, and as much as I like Mikel Arteta, I think some Arsenal fans, they're in this trap of thinking we can save everyone. Like every player that is a talented player that's fallen by the wayside, whether that's Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Mason Mount, you know, insert any others. Are we trying to do this football thing? Or are we trying to be, you know, a charity? We can't help everyone, you know. We can't help everyone. Would you keep Jesus? Amen. For me, Tierney better play than Tavares. Miles better. Tavares' IQ is just poor, man. Physically, he's got it. He can get up and down the pitch, but he's poor. Like, do you know what? Big up Tavares for the goal against. I'm sure he scored against Man United, but of all the mistakes Tavares has made and all the poor performances, I think the only one I won't get over is I'm sure he made a mistake against Liverpool. And again, mistakes happen, but I think that sums up Nuno Tavares, where he's dribbling in an area you don't need to. I think he played a blind pass, and I think Jota scored. I could be making that all up, actually. Yes, DG, going to my first Arsenal game versus Leverkusen. Hopefully, you can see some new guys. Hopefully, we get the signings in for you, man. Gabriel ain't even at his peak yet, 26 years old. Man, I'm moving like he's been due a replacement for time. No need to go for a replacement, all because they're younger and promising. Gabriel is him. Long may it continue, man, really and truly. And it's nice to finally be moving over the line. Are these Spanish midfielders overhyped? Who? I think Merino's just a calm, steady Eddie. You just do a great job, really, and I think we could do with that. Fabian Ruiz, we've been tentatively linked with him. I don't think we're going there. Zubimendi, I'm a big fan, but it seems like those links are gone. I wouldn't put overrated and Spanish midfielders in the same sentence, especially of a club that had Santi Cazorla, and we all remember Cesc Fabregas. Go and cop the blue training kit. It's a must. I'll never forget the mistake for the Jota goal. I legit lost my head there. So, yeah, I'm not making it up, am I? I'm not making it up. I knew it. Yeah, he definitely did. Tavares is brainless, and I hate to be that guy. But I will never forget it, yeah. There's been a couple of things I've been right on. I told you, look, we got scammed for Nicolas Pepe. I told you, look, Lacazette ain't going to hit 20 goals. And I told you, Gabriel Jesus ain't going to get the goals for us. And I said, Tavares scares me. Not because he said anything wrong. I remember being on this live stream, how we are now with you lot, and he was talking on Arsenal.com. Naturally, you want to hear your defender. It's a bit like an attacker. I want to hear an attacker say, I like to score goals. I want to assist. I want to do this. Just like with a defender, I want to keep clean sheets. I want to do this. I want to do that. Tavares is sat there, and they're asking him, like, your strengths. And he says, I like to shoot with my right foot. Bearing in mind, he's a left back and he's left-footed. Does that not set off alarm bells in everyone's head? Whoever sanctioned on that signing, play. I know mistakes happen, but therefore money laundering. Do you know how the ballot system works? The app keeps saying my card is invalid. I can't lie, it seems to be happening to everyone, really. My best advice would be contact Arsenal, man, if I'm honest with you. But yeah, people, we're just shy of 53 minutes. Obviously, I want to give you a little break before the other content comes out. I'm going to go gym. Of course, if there's any other content, you can rest assured that videos will come out. If there's any other talking points, hella content to come from the channels, people. Obviously, next week, it's back to watch-alongs at stupid o'clock because we begin our America tour. I will promise to, as much as I get videos out, I think we need to keep up the live streams, people. So, yeah, big up you lot for your talking points, your super chats, your engagements, your differences of opinions, just supporting the platform. If you haven't liked, commented, and subscribed or followed on the other socials, do make sure you do that. So, yeah, people, you lot stay safe, stay blessed, enjoy your weekend, and we link up again soon, man. Peace.
Games are two games a season. Oh, then they said it's always just that active and defending. I think it's like